It's no secret that Ferrari have made some serious strategic errors in this F1 season, costing them up to 120 points this season. Recently, they have stated that they didn't have the budget to continue the development of the 2022 car. This does not appear to be the only thing Ferrari is struggling to come to terms with, as their patience has worn thin, with Matthia Binnito to be sacked along with 2 senior directors, with replacements lined up for all of them. Who have Ferrari lined up to replace the executives with, and what does this mean for them? Matthia Binnito has been informed that his position as principal of the Ferrari team is in jeopardy. Since the team is in a title struggle with Red Bull, they are in hot water. In 2022, Ferrari got off to a fast start. Charles Leclerc won 2 of the first 3 races for Ferrari. Although Red Bull's early season reliability issues cost them a significant number of points, Carlos Sainz also scored well. Since then, however, the 2 teams' fortunes have changed, with the Italian team currently experiencing issues, while Max Verstappen has been dominating the race. The defending champion has won 5 of the last 6 races, except for Monaco, which was won by teammate Sergio Perez. Now, given the magnitude of the error in qualifying at the Brazil GP, Ferrari salvaged a respectable result at the Brazilian Grand Prix after Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc finished 3rd and 4th respectively. Given what transpired at Interlagos, the Italians will likely be pleased with the result, while former F1 driver Ralf Schumacher has criticized the team for making mistakes over and over again. The Scuderia did make a second error at the beginning of the weekend after fitting Leclerc with intermediate tires in Q3 due to impending rain. However, the track was still dry. As a result, Leclerc qualified 10th for the sprint. The 24-year-old criticized the team's strategic error as beautiful. According to team boss Matthia Binnito, Ferrari had 2 main reasons for not asking Carlos Sainz to let Charles Leclerc pass in the closing stages of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix to help the Monegasque's points tally. Leclerc jumped on the radio to request that Ferrari consider his battle with Red Bull rival Sergio Perez for P2 in the drivers' standings, but the team dismissed the request, with Binnito later explaining that they were concerned by the lingering Fernando Alonso and Max Verstappen, as well as Sainz being investigated for passing Yuki Tsunoda during the final safety car period. This means Leclerc and Perez are now tied on 290 points heading into the season finale in Abu Dhabi after Perez's teammate Max Verstappen refused to let him through on the final lap. But back to the Binnito issue, only 7 victories have come in the 4 years he has been in charge, 3 in 2019, 4 so far in 2022. And the single-seater from Maranello, first entrusted to the Leclerc-Vettel duo, then to Leclerc-Sainz, has never been able to keep up to rivals, Mercedes first and now Red Bull, although some signs of growth have been seen with the change in regulation. Under the management of the engineer from Lausanne, Ferrari also had to face the storm of the power unit scandal in 2019, which ended with a private agreement with the FIA, leaving some shadows and several technical repercussions in the following seasons. The less-than-ideal relationship with Charles Leclerc, who it should be noted made his F1 debut with Sauber in 2018, could also influence the Cavallino top management's decision. Now, all this could be the root cause of Binnito being replaced. According to reports, Ferrari's top officials considered replacing Binnito as early as last summer. Ferrari president John Elkann is said to have suggested Vassar as a suitable Binnito replacement. Elkann reportedly decided he wanted Vassar before the 2022 season even began. Vassar, who worked for Art Grand Prix when Lewis Hamilton won the GP2 Series Championship in 2006, became Renault's first F1 team principal in 2016. However, he left the team a year later after a disagreement with the team's managing director, Cyril Abiteboul. Vassar was promoted to managing director, CEO and team principal of Sauber Motorsport AG the following year. He's been in charge ever since, and Sauber is now known as Alfa Romeo thanks to their title sponsor. Multiple authoritative Italian media sources, including the notable sports daily La Gazzetta dello Sport, claim Italian Binnito will be ousted in January after the botched 2022 championship campaign. Ferrari states that these rumors are totally without foundation, the team said in a media statement. That statement was prompted by widespread speculation earlier this week that Frenchman Frédéric Vassar, who is reportedly close to Charles Leclerc's manager, Nicolas Todd, is being headhunted from his current role at Sauber. The Hinwil-based team, currently known as Alfa Romeo, did not respond to requests for comment, but it was subsequently reported that Ferrari is also recalling Simone Resta from his role as technical director at Ferrari-supported Haas. And McLaren boss Andrea Seidel is also being mentioned as a potential replacement for Binotto, with Ferrari, Stellantis and Exor chairman John Elkann said to have intervened directly to install new top management at the Maranello team. Binotto was notably absent in Brazil last weekend, but so too was Mercedes' Toto Wolff as the German team finally broke through for a win in 2022. The Gazzetta dello Sport correspondents Luigi Perna and Justo Farinata insist that Vassar 54 and historically aligned strategically with former Ferrari boss Jean Todt is definitely the frontrunner to replace Binotto. He had already been sounded out by Elkann last summer, the correspondent said. Vassar has a consolidated relationship with the top management of the Stellantis group, built in these years of managing Sauber, branded Alfa Romeo, the Gazzetta report added. He is a managerial turning point, given his resume as a true racing man with a past of also managing many teams in the minor leagues. However, more people are rumored to be leaving. Indeed, sporting director Mekis would also have to find another workplace. He reportedly already knows by now where he will start work, as he is said to be replacing Frederic Vassar at Alfa Romeo. Strategic director Rueda is also said to be preparing to leave. Here comes the big question though, should Matthia Binnito remain as team principal at Ferrari? Let's look at both sides. You could be in support of this for a couple of reasons. While Binotto appears responsible for any mishap at Scuderia Ferrari, he can only investigate the problem and devise the best possible solution. As team principal, he oversees the entire team, takes a step back and makes sound future decisions. He can advise personnel but cannot sit down and physically resolve the issue. An F1 team comprises mechanics, engineers, strategists, pit crew and other specialists who know more about their field than the team principal. It is up to the individual departments to perform to the best of their abilities to achieve the team's overall ambitions and goals. Another factor that favors Binotto is how he led Ferrari back to its current position from the lows of the 2020 season. Thanks to the team's constant efforts throughout the 2021 F1 season, not only on their car for the 2021 season, but also on this season's car, the team can once again compete for race wins and podiums regularly. Ferrari rarely went wrong after setting a realistic goal of finishing third in the standings in 2021, eventually finishing third by 48.5 points ahead of McLaren. It is never easy for any team to recover from a slump in form, but how Ferrari has recovered to return to their current position is a huge accomplishment. But also, you'd be quite reasonable if you're against Binotto remaining the team principal. This debate portion stems primarily from Ferrari's difficult 2022 season, which is currently plunging from high to low. While Binotto stated that the team's goal for this season was to be competitive rather than title contenders, the team's performance on the track, particularly in qualifying, was outstanding. They were able to fight for much more than wins, taking a commanding lead in both standings after the first 3 rounds. It would not be pleasant for the Italian team to see them throw it all away after such a strong start to the season. The fact that Mercedes is not far behind and may end up beating them to second place this season, despite having a slower car than the Scuderia, is a major embarrassment for the Italian team. Another reason Binotto is held accountable when Ferrari has a difficult race is that poor strategy and reliability issues regularly cost them many points. Now, I don't know what's your take on this, but hey, let us know your thoughts on this in the comments section below.